Hello everyone and welcome back. Quite a long break, I know. If you're looking for any information as to why it has been so long, do check out one of our videos where there's been a little bit of a channel update and of course the giveaway winner there. But thank you again for joining us. We're going through the Arkham Horror card game. This time we're starting the campaign, the Dunwich Legacy. And I'm going to be playing, I think it probably comes as no surprise because it is a really popular solo pick, but I'm playing through as Ashcan Pete. So we've got him and the faithful psychic Duke. And the first scenario we're going to be going through is the extracurricular activity, which is scenario 1A. So this one's a little bit weird that you've got scenario 1A and 1B, and you can choose whichever order you want to do them in. The one that you do second is a slightly harder version of the one that you could have done first, if you know what I mean. But we're basically here, I won't go and read through the whole prelogue because it is a little bit of a longer thing, but effectively we are trying to locate a couple of doctors, Francis Morgan and Warren Rice, who are various professors of languages and archaeology. They've gone missing. And so in this particular scenario, extracurricular activity, as I said, Dr. Armitage is worried about his colleague, Professor Warren Rice, might be in trouble, and so he's asked for our help in finding his friend. He seems unreasonably nervous about his colleague's disappearance, considering that Professor Rice has only been missing for a matter of hours. So we find ourselves starting in the Miskatonic Quad, so I shall flip that over and we will start here. We will also gather our starting bits and bobs. We start with the five resources, and then we're going to draw our starting hand and see if we need to take a mulligan. Well, we've got two luckies, which might be a little bit overkill. We've got the Fire Axe and Dark Horse, which are very strong cards. I will probably keep the two luckies, and I'm going to get rid of the Kukri, and we'll get a Scavenging instead. So we'll put that in and shuffle. So what are we going to do first? We need to find these clues. So we've got the Quiet Halls and the After Hours. So we've got a doom limit on the first agenda of 7, and we need to find 3 clues in order to pass the act, the After Hours act. What are we going to do first of all? I think I just want to get set up quite quickly. So my first 2 actions are going to be to play Dark Horse and Fire Axe. So that is 4 of my resources gone. And then I'm going to exhaust Duke, I think, and I'm going to go and search somewhere, because his action is to be able to investigate with a base skill of 4. So I think I want to do that. Yeah. So we're going to go to the Orne Library, revealing it. It's got 1 clue on it. You must spend 1 additional action to investigate the Orne Library, but that has that is overridden, whatever the word is. I don't know why my brain is suddenly unable to do that. So we're going to go for that. It's a Shroud of 3 against his Investigator 4. So we might need a little bit of luck for that, but I've got some lucky as well, if that's what we want to do this early on. I get a Skull, which for this one is a -1. So that's fine. So 3 versus 3. Get the clue. And that's our first turn gone. No monsters to move about. Everything's standing back up. Just going to have this open here just to remind me, because it has been a couple of weeks since I played. And then everything stands back up. Going to draw a card and gain a resource. And I've got a leather coat. And then we are going to put a doom, we draw first and then we put a doom on. So we get a Yithian Observer. I don't think I've shuffled these because that's what I remembered being on the top of the pack. Quick shuffle, should have done this beforehand, but I was getting everything reset up, so nicely shuffled again now. We have a Thrall instead. So he's got retaliate, 2/2/2, and he spawns in a location with the most clues. But he's going to come on to me anyway. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? It's got 2 health. Do I want to fight it with the fire axe because I need to get rid of resources? Yeah, go on then. So I'm going to attack with the fire axe, and I will pump it twice because I don't need these resources really so much at the minute. So I've got +4, so it's a 6 versus 2 at the moment, which means, and because I've got no resources, the fire axe also does +1 damage. We're going to get a cloak, which is a -1, so that's also fine. So that is dead straight away. So that's first action. Now Dark Horse gives me +1 to each of my stats. And we will, I think we'll go down to the Humanities building and we'll use Duke for it. So that's my second action to come down here, and it's got 2 clues on it. That's quite handy. 2 clues, and I immediately can investigate for a base of 4, and then 5 for Dark Horse. So I've got a 2 margin here, which is what I need because it's -2. -2, if you can see that. So second action is that, and I think third action I will just try and do it again because I do have some. I haven't got the resources for lucky actually. I didn't think that through. So it's going to be a 3 versus 3 base then. I could discard the scavenging. I don't know where the balance of math is there for that, giving +1. I think it probably does work out that that's pretty decent increase in odds. So we'll do that. So we're currently at 4 versus 3. And we will go for it. -3. So failed that, unfortunately. So that's the end of my turn. Investigation phase, enemy phase, upkeep phase. So I will take a resource because I want to have enough for lucky. Ooh, didn't see that other card. Got the Forbidden Knowledge card. Is that right in this deck? Yes. Got Seed of Doubt because things were all over the place in between Christmas. And so then we draw a Mythos, we've got a Doom. Didn't put a Doom last time, so it's 2 Doom now. And I've got a Whippoorwill. It's a Loof, it's a Hunter. And each investigator at the Whippoorwill's location gets -1 practically to every stat. So that's a little bit irritating. You don't really want to waste an action killing it, but you also can't not really. What to do. I will attack with Duke. So it's a 4 -1, so it's going to be a 3. So 3 versus the 1 on the Whippoorwill. Let's see what happens. -2, so we do just about equal it. So that's that. And then we will go and investigate on the Humanities building for the second action. So it's currently 3 versus 3, but I do have enough for a lucky. So hopefully that will help. Oh, we don't need it, it's a 0. So we've got 3 now. So we can turn those in. Doesn't say it requires an action. So we've got those 3, and then we'll flip after hours. So you were unable to find Professor Rice, but one of the students you spoke with mentioned a strange man entering Rice's office. Unfortunately, the door leading to the faculty offices is locked at this late hour. The student says that the head janitor, Jazz, may be able to let you in if you can find him. Shuffle the encounter discard pile and set aside Jazz Mulligan into the encounter deck. Okay. So that's down there now, so we need to get Jazz. Where are you, Jazz boy? There you are. So we're going to shuffle him in. So now on the act card that we've revealed, It says, concerned for Professor Rice's safety, you seek out the head janitor who can let you into the locked section of the campus. So as an action, I can spend a clue and to discard the top 5 cards of the encounter pile, or 10 cards if you are playing solo. Okay, so once you discard Jazz Mulligan for any reason, resolve his revelation effect. Okay, and we advance once we've got control of Jazz Morgan. So we've got to go through this deck a bit, and I've got no things left. I do love my Duke, so I'm going to do the swift action of discarding a card to ready an asset. So I'm going to ready Duke. So then my third action will be to come and investigate the Students' Union. Oh, I had that the wrong way around. Oops. But never mind, we're here now. And it does have 2 clues. So we've got 2 clues at the Student Union, and we do have, I did forget a forced ability, but that's because I read it and I have no horror on me, so it didn't mean that I discarded anything. Its forced effect is after the Students' Union is revealed, put the set-aside dormitories into play. So we have the dormitories here, but we can't get into them. Let's shuffle these up a tiny bit. So dormitories are there. Do have an investigate. So we're currently at 4, plus Dark Horse 5. Oh no, 4, because I've got something there. So it should be okay. Skull is -1. So we gain a clue there as our third and final action. I don't think there's anything else I want to do. Duke would be down, nothing's going to activate, going to draw a card, but I'm not going to take a resource. And then we will put a Doom, flip that, put a Doom there, and draw. And I have got Light of a Foregoneman. Revelation, you must attach Light of Foregoneman to either the current agenda or the current act. Limit 1 per act or agenda. Treat all damage as direct damage and all horror as direct horror. I think I want to put that on the act because I'm hopeful that with 2 clues I'm going to go through 20 cards. I would guess, I haven't counted obviously, that's probably half the deck. So we'll put it there and see how we get on. So first action will be to investigate. So we're not using Duke for it, so it's a 3 versus 1. See what we get. Oh no, it's not a 3 versus 1, it's a 2 versus 1, but I do have the lucky in hand. Ooh, which one do I feel like? Oh, it's Skull. So that takes me down -1, so it's 1 versus 1. That's fine, we still clear it. So we get 2. And then for the first one, I'll discard 1, and we're going to discard the top 10 cards. 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, 10. See if we get Jazz in this slot. Oh, we do. There we go. Lovely. Well, that is incredibly lucky. So his revelation effect is to put him into your play area. You'll note that he doesn't have an ally icon, nor does Duke, so we don't have to worry about limits. While, he's put into play on your location, my apologies, so he's there. While Jazz is not controlled by any investigator, he gains an action parlay, test 3 investigate. If successful, take control of Jazz Mulligan. Okay, I think I want to use Duke here. Or do I just want to do normal and go for the lucky? I think I'm going to go for lucky. So we're currently 2 versus 3, so we're currently very negatively against it. And then we're going to get, I want this one. Oh, it's a 0. So we have failed. And then we're going to pay 1 for lucky, putting this up 2, then Dark Horse kicks us in, so we're actually at +3. So Jazz comes into our hand. That's our third action. While you control Jazz Mulligan, ignore the text on each unrevealed miskatonic location. So we can actually go into the dormitories if we want to at this point. And when we take control of him, we have to advance, and this thing gets discarded. So, you convince Jazz that something strange is going on, and that Professor Rice may be in danger. He doesn't trust you enough to hand you his keys, but he agrees to come with you. All of a sudden, you hear a crash coming from the science building, and a student rushes towards you. "Help!" he cries. "There is some kind of animal loose in the chem labs. I only barely caught a glimpse of it, but..." He shudders. "I think it's heading towards the dorms. You've got to do something. If the alchemy lab location is not in play, put it into play. Doosh. If you're at Agenda 1 or 2, spawn the set-aside the experiment in the alchemy labs, alchemical labs. If you have completed the House Always Wins, which we haven't, put the set-aside chemical concoction into play underneath the chemical labs. If extracurricular activity is your first scenario of the game, remove the set-aside alchemical concoction from... With the wonders of editing, we have the experiment in the alchemy labs. So now we have the Campus Safety Act revealed. You have only moments to react. You could warn the students in the dormitories and escort them to safety, or continue your task of searching the faculty offices for Professor Rice, or perhaps you could try to slay the beast that threatens the campus. Find and complete an objective on another encounter card. Okay, so the experiment looks hench. He's got 10 hit points, 4 attack, 2 flight, so he's relatively easy to run away from, particularly from me. But he's always going to attack, because even if you exhaust him by fleeing, he's going to ready. If you defeat him, you advance to Act 3B. The dormitories are right here and I can go straight in them. Or the administration building is where I'm feeling that the faculty offices are likely to be. It's an interesting one. I'm not quite sure what the right answer is here. I think I'll go to the dormitories. But first of all, I need to put a Doom on. I will take, sorry, I didn't take a, I will take 1 resource for lucky. And I'll draw a card. So I've got Leo De Luca, which is a brilliant asset, but it's 6 and I have nowhere near enough. So that might be discard fodder for Duke. We shall see. And then we've got a draw Mythos card. I've got a Yithian Observer. So he's going to come straight onto me. When he attacks me, I've got to discard 1 card at random from my hand. If you cannot, it deals 1 damage and 1 horror additionally for this attack. So it's probably a good thing I kept that resource, because I can fire axe him, which is going to make some difference. But do I just try and flee? Interesting. He has got a victory point, so it's got an XP on it. It's going to take at least 2 attacks to kill it though. And it's only going to be a 5 versus 4 probably for the most often. Yeah, even with the fire axe it's a 5 versus 3. I have got a lucky. Oh, this is a difficult one. It doesn't have retaliate. I'm just thinking that each turn it's like the experiment. It doesn't say when it moves, so maybe it doesn't move until the agenda advances. There's nothing instructing it to move, and it's not a hunter, so it is just going to stay in the alchemy labs for the time being, I think. This is a difficult one. This is a difficult one. I'm going to flee it to start with. I'm going to flee. So 3 versus my 4 currently, because of, no, 3 versus my 3 currently, because I've still got resources. -1. So I am going to spend that lucky to make sure that I can flee. So it's going to come here. And I will then investigate with Duke to come to the dormitory. It's got 3 clues per investigator. So we'll go straight away first of all. 1 versus 3. Yeah, 1 versus 3. Oh no, it's Duke's thing, so it's 1 versus 5 actually. We're fine, we're going 1. And then, well, I can leave on R2. I want to go in the admin building, but I will get 3 clues first of all. So then it's just my base, so it's going to be 3 versus 1 and -1. So I've taken 3 clues. So I can leave, but I've not chosen to do so yet. Okay. So at the end of things, these guys are going to stand up. It's not got Hunter, so it's not going to move. I believe that's right. So it's only Hunter that it moves towards the nearest, moves 1 location nearest, so it's not going to do that. This guy stands up. Draw a card. Rabbit's Foot. I'm actually going to take a resource for that, because that's actually very good. Okay. And so then, Doom. Mythos card. A wizard. It's going to come here and he's got Hunter, so it's got 3 health, 4 attack, 3 flee, but it does have victory, so I do think I want to, when the engaged investigator draws a hex or pact, it attacks the investigator. Okay, so we don't want that. First of all, then, we will attack it with the fire axe and discard 1. So we're at a base of 2, 4, 5. 5 versus 4. 5 versus 4, and I think there's nothing else I can do, I don't think. I could have discarded the leather coat, couldn't I? But that is... No, so first action failed. Doesn't have retaliate. Next attack, I will attack with Duke. So that again, that's a 5. 5 minus 1, that's fine, so it takes 2 damage. And then as a swift action, I'm going to discard Luca to re-stand up Duke to attack again at a 5 versus 4. And do I want to discard 5 versus 4? I'm going to discard my leather coat, so it takes it 6 versus 4 just to get that additional protection, which I needed because it was a -2. So he dies, actually overkilling by 1 hit point, and he's going to go into my victory pile. But that is my 3 actions pretty quickly. None of these 2 have Hunter, happily. So we're going to move. We are going to take one of these resources again and draw a card. So we get Perception. That's helpful if there's something in the admin building. And then we're going to do a Doom. And we're going to draw. So we're currently at 6 Dooms, so that agenda is going to advance next turn. Revelation for Eager of Death. Test Will 2, so I'm currently at 5. Increase this test by each damage I've taken. So I've taken none, so I'm currently 5 versus 2, so we should be fine. Assuming we don't get an auto fail. Of course I got an auto fail. I'm going to put the 2 horror on Duke there, because he can take that. Blimey. I mean, you couldn't have written that, could you? Okay. We are going to move, which engages the Yithian Observer, and then we're going to try and dodge it. 3 versus 3. Fail the first one. Fail the second one. I don't think there's anything I can do about that one. Oh, I could have played Lucky Rabbit's Foot, but I didn't. So it's there. That's my 3 actions. So So I will take a resource. I'm just going to kill it next turn, I think. Draw a card. Racked by nightmares. Exhaust all assets you control and put racked in nightmares into your threat area. Assets you control cannot be readied. Well, that is a bit of a balls. That is not great. That means I'm going to get attacked twice by this thing, and there's very little I can do about it. That could be an awful combination. He's going to attack, he's going to discard a card at random. So that's the Lucky Rabbit's Foot one. I should have done that. I've done it slightly in the wrong order, but I then take a damage, which I'll put on Duke, and then I take a horror, which I can't avoid, and I don't want to kill Duke yet. Well, I could put it on Jazz. Let's put it on Jazz, because there are effects that are quite bad. But they're all exhausted, which is pretty awful. I don't think Dark Horse and everything it doesn't really affect, but we are going to flip, so I may as well, rather than just putting an extra one out, we'll take all of these off. I'm just going to double check that the Draw a Mythos card occurs before. Place one Doom, yeah. Compare the Doom, and then draw a Mythos card. Okay, so this is flipped. The university is dead silent. The shadows coil about your feet as you walk, and you swear there is something following you with each step you take. Is it your imagination, or is there really someone or something stalking you? Each investigator with 5 or more cards in his or her discard pile, that's definitely me, takes a horror. Each investigator with 10 or more takes 2. Oh, I don't think I've got 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no, 7. If players have advanced this, no. We go to agenda 2A. So the Beast Unleashed. Some kind of wild creature is loose. Whatever it is, it appears to be headed towards the university dormitories. When this agenda would advance by reaching its doom threshold, instead, remove all doom in play and move the experiment one location toward the dormitories. If the experiment enters the dormitories, advance the act. Okay, so it's really putting me in a pickle here. But I think my first action has to be to do 2 actions to discard the Wrecked by Nightmare. I will then discard the Liquid Courage to automatically bring Duke up. I think that's going to be the right thing to do. I don't think I can get away with the fact that it is gonna hurt me. So I want to try and get some damage on it. So I'm going to do a base attack of 4, I think is the only thing I can do, because Duke's the only one that I can ready. So again, I'm going to spend him, it's 4 versus 4. But I fail with a -2. So nothing doing there. It's going to attack me. So I need to discard this card, which was Perception, and then I'm going to take a damage, which I'll put on here, and I'll put the horror on here. And then everything readies. And I will take a resource because I'm going to use the Fire Axe, at least some of this, and draw a card. So I've got a Kukri, and then we will put a Doom counter and draw a Mythos. Pushed into the Beyond, choose and shuffle a non-story asset you control into your deck and discard the top 3 cards of your deck. If a copy of that asset is discarded, take 2 horror. Jesus. Wow, I am getting severely done in here. I think I have to discard this Dark Horse because I need the Fire Axe. And there's no point in having Dark Horse if I don't have the Fire Axe, because then I've got no way to spend my resources, at which point it just becomes a dead card anyway. So let's hope. So then discard the top 3 cards. Hope none of them's Dark Horse. None of them are Dark Horse, so that's at least not too horror, which would take me up to very close to dead. And then we've got to go at this Yithian Observer. So the first attack we are going to do with the Fire Axe. Do we just need to get the damage through? Let's just get the damage through. So we're going to spend all 3 on the Fire Axe, so it's +6, 7, 8, so it's 8 versus 4, so I should be okay here. 0, we are fine, so that's 2 damage on it. It's got 2 health left. Let's do Duke, so it's going to be 4 versus 4. Ooh, second 0. Brilliant, okay. So then the Yithian Observer goes into my victory. And then my final one is the Kukri, which I don't care about, which I'm going to use to ready Duke. Tap him, and he's going to allow me to come straight across to the admin building and investigate. So it's going to be a 4 versus 4. Oh, that's the wrong one. We need an actual clue token. And we put in the set aside faculties office. And we'll investigate. 4 versus 4. Nothing really to lose. Definitely with an auto fail, it doesn't really matter. No hunters on the board. Stand everything back up. I will take a resource. I will draw a card because I've got none in hand. I've got Dark Horse back. We are then going to do this, which then as soon as it reaches its top 2, it's going to move. So it's going to come out of the alchemy labs into the science building, and then we draw a card. Arcane Barrier, attached to your location. As an additional cost, moving into or out of the location, test will 4. If successful, discard it. Otherwise, you may cancel the effects of the move. You must cancel the effects of the moves or discard the top 5 cards of your deck. I don't want to fanny around here, so I am going to attempt to move with Duke. I don't think this is going to help me. It could help me. I've got a will of 4. It's a test of 4, so it's 50-50. Well, it's not 50-50 because this is stacked against you. -3, I fail. I am just going to discard the top 5 cards in my deck because it is close now, and we will still be able to get there. There's 2 clues there. We've got Forced. After it is revealed, search the encounter and discard pile for an enemy card, a human enemy card, and spawn it here. Shuffle and shuffle the encounter deck. Okay, so let's search for the next humanoid. Humanoid, no. Creature, humanoid, it's a thrall. So it's going to come into here. But we do have the objective. If investigators in the faculty office spend 2 clues as a group, they can advance. So what I'm going to do is I'm not fannying around. I'm too worried about how things might play out here. So I am just going to spend 2 clues. It's not an action. So we're going to go straight away and do the resolution 1 from this. So, resolution 1. You find Professor Rice, bound and gagged in the closet of his office. When you free him, he informs you that the strange men and women wandering around the campus have been stalking him for hours. They cornered him in his office and tied him up, although for what purpose, Rice isn't sure. You inform him that Dr. Armitage sent you, and Rice looks relieved, although he suspects that Dr. Morgan might be in danger as well. Because the strangers on campus seem to have been targeting Professor Rice, you decide that the best course of action is to escort him away from the campus as quickly as possible. As you leave the university, you hear screams from the northern end of the campus. An ambulance passes you by and you fear for the worst. Hours later, you learn that a rabid dog of some sort found its way into the university dormitories. The creature attacked the students inside, and many were mauled or killed in the attack. Okay. In the campaign log, record that the investigators rescued Professor Rice. I can choose to add him to my deck, which I probably will, because he gives me some nice bonuses, +1 investigate, and an automatic constant thing. If you discover the last remaining clue at a location, we can exhaust him to draw an extra card, so that's pretty decent. I've got to record that the investigators failed to save the student, so I've got to add one of those broken tablet tokens to the Chaos bag for the remainder of their campaign. That's an ideal. Each investigator earns experience, so I would have earned, I didn't clear this, I did clear this one, so that's 1, 2, 3, so I've got 3 experience, and we then go through to scenario 1B, the house always wins. So that's the end of this particular scenario 1A, extracurricular activity. So do join us again when we continue this sort of legacy journey. We're not using any cards other than those that we find either in this set or any earlier ones. We can't use anything from later on, much like the previous campaign we've done. So please do like, comment and subscribe and follow us. Thanks for your continued support, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.